Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a sharp, sudden cramp in your leg? So strong it felt like your muscle was locked in place? For many seniors, this isn't just an occasional inconvenience. It can become a recurring issue that disrupts sleep, makes walking uncomfortable, and even increases the risk of falls. In fact, research shows that muscle cramps affect nearly 50% of adults over the age of 60, often linked to nutrient deficiencies, dehydration, or changes in nerve and muscle function that occur naturally with aging. But here's the hopeful part. Science is very clear on this. The foods you eat can either increase your risk of cramps or dramatically reduce it. Certain nutrients strengthen muscle fibers, stabilize the nervous system, and support proper blood flow, all of which are essential to keeping your legs strong, stable, and cramp-free. And the fascinating truth is this: just a few simple adjustments in your daily diet can prevent the majority of nighttime cramps many seniors experience. Now, why does this matter beyond just avoiding pain? Because when leg cramps interrupt sleep, they disrupt the brain's ability to perform deep repair, memory consolidation, and hormonal balance. Poor sleep, in turn, weakens focus, mood, and even immune function. So what may seem like just a leg cramp is actually tied to the larger system of brain-body health. And when muscles aren't nourished properly, mobility and independence can decline faster than they need to. In today's session, we're going to cut through the noise and focus on the top 3 foods scientifically proven to prevent leg cramps. In seniors, foods that not only calm the nerves and muscles, but also strengthen your legs over time. Along the way, I'll explain why these nutrients are so critical, how they work in your body, and most importantly, how to integrate them into your daily routine in practical, enjoyable ways. So, if you've been looking for a natural, research-backed approach to keeping your legs strong and cramp-free, stay with me, because the tools we'll explore today can change not only how your muscles feel at night, but also how energized, stable, and capable you feel every single day. Let's begin with the mineral that scientists often call nature's muscle relaxant, magnesium. If you've ever felt your leg suddenly seize up into a painful cramp, there's a strong chance magnesium deficiency was part of the picture. Research consistently shows that low magnesium levels increase muscle excitability, meaning your nerves fire when they shouldn't and your muscles contract without proper release. Now here's the striking part. According to the National Institutes of Health, nearly 70% of older adults don't meet the daily recommended intake of magnesium. That's a huge problem because, unlike some nutrients, your body doesn't store large reserves of it. You need a consistent daily supply to keep your muscles calm and your nervous system stable. So, what role does magnesium actually play? Think of your muscles like a team of workers pulling on ropes. Calcium signals them to contract, to pull the rope tight. Magnesium is the supervisor who tells them when to release. Without enough magnesium, the pulling never fully stops, and that's when you feel the sharp, locking sensation of a cramp. In the nervous system, magnesium also acts like a gatekeeper. It helps regulate NMDA receptors in the brain, which are responsible for transmitting signals between nerves and muscles. Too little magnesium, and the system becomes overactive, firing off cramps when you least expect it. Now, the good news: magnesium is abundant in leafy greens like spinach, Swiss chard, and kale. A single cup of cooked spinach delivers almost 40% of your daily magnesium needs. And here's the beautiful part. Spinach doesn't just bring magnesium, it also contains potassium and calcium, 2 other cramp-fighting minerals we'll explore later. This makes spinach something of a triple threat food when it comes to leg health. You might be wondering, but how do I get enough spinach without feeling like I'm eating salads all day? The key is to make it part of meals you already enjoy. You can blend a handful of raw spinach into a fruit smoothie. The sweetness of banana or berries completely masks the taste. You can stir sautéed spinach into scrambled eggs, soups, or stews. Even a simple side dish of garlic spinach at dinner provides a muscle-protecting boost. Here's another tip. Magnesium is better absorbed when paired with foods that contain vitamin B6, such as bananas or chickpeas. That means something as simple as a spinach salad with chickpeas isn't just delicious, it's scientifically optimized to fight cramps. Now, I want to address something important. Many seniors are tempted to skip straight to magnesium supplements. While supplementation has its place, studies suggest that food-based magnesium is often absorbed more efficiently and carries additional benefits, like fiber and antioxidants. Supplements can help if your doctor recommends them, but think of whole foods as your foundation. Imagine this scenario. You start your day with a spinach and mushroom omelet, add a handful of leafy greens to your lunch wrap, and then enjoy a side of sautéed spinach with dinner. You've effortlessly built a consistent magnesium supply, stabilizing your muscles and dramatically lowering your risk of nighttime cramps. Over weeks, most people notice not just fewer cramps, but also steadier energy, calmer mood, and even better sleep quality. Because magnesium is also a cofactor in melatonin production, the the hormone that regulates sleep. So here's your first action tool. Commit to 1 cup of leafy greens every single day. It could be spinach, kale, or Swiss chard. Consistency is what matters. Think of it like giving your nervous system its daily dose of calm. Over time, this simple habit strengthens your legs, supports your sleep, and creates a foundation for better health across the board. If magnesium is the mineral that helps your muscles relax, potassium is the mineral that helps them contract in a stable, controlled way. The two work together like a brake and accelerator in a car. Both are necessary for smooth movement. Without enough potassium, your muscles can misfire, twitch, or seize into painful cramps. Here's what the research shows. Potassium is the primary electrolyte that maintains the balance of fluid inside and outside your muscle cells. When potassium levels are too low, a condition known as hypokalemia, the electrical signals that tell your muscles when to contract and when to relax become disrupted. This isn't just theory. Studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirm that potassium deficiency is strongly linked to muscle weakness and cramping, especially in older adults. Now, why are seniors more vulnerable to this? There are 2 key reasons. First, potassium-rich foods like fruits and vegetables often decline in the diet as we age, sometimes due to changes in appetite or chewing ability. Second, many common medications, especially certain blood pressure and diuretic drugs, can cause the body to lose potassium more quickly. This combination makes leg cramps a frequent and frustrating reality. The good news? A single medium banana contains around 420 milligrams of potassium. That's about 10% of your daily requirement in one simple, easy-to-eat snack. Bananas are portable, gentle on digestion, and naturally sweet, making them one of the most practical tools for preventing cramps. But here's an important nuance. Bananas are not the only option. If you're not a fan of bananas, or if you want variety, there are powerful alternatives. Sweet potatoes, avocados, beans, lentils, and even coconut water are all excellent sources of potassium. In fact, one medium-baked sweet potato delivers more potassium than a banana. Plus, it comes with fiber and beta-carotene that support overall health. Here's a practical example. Start your morning with half a banana in your oatmeal. Enjoy a small baked sweet potato at lunch, and add a slice of avocado to your dinner salad. You've just secured nearly half your daily potassium needs without feeling like you're forcing down supplements or powders. Now, I want to pause here and ask, have you noticed that cramps often seem worse at night when you're lying still? One reason is that your body's potassium reserves get depleted over the course of the day, especially if you're active or taking medications that increase potassium loss. This is why having a potassium-rich food in the evening, something as small as half a banana or a few slices of avocado, can make a big difference in how your legs feel during sleep. And here's the empowering part. When you optimize potassium intake, you're not just preventing cramps. You're also lowering blood pressure, reducing risk of stroke, and supporting cardiovascular health. The Harvard School of Public Health has highlighted potassium's role in relaxing blood vessel walls, which means you're protecting both your muscles and your heart at the same time. A simple tool to apply is this. Aim for 2 to 3 servings of potassium-rich foods each day, spaced out across meals. Think of it as topping up your electrolyte bank account, so your muscles never run into deficit mode. Before we move on, I want to quickly say this. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, if the science, the analogies, and the tools are clicking for you, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. That way, you'll stay connected to evidence-based strategies for strengthening your body, protecting your brain, and living with more energy and independence. Now, we've covered magnesium with spinach and potassium with bananas and their alternatives. Up next, we're going to look at another critical nutrient that most people don't connect with cramps. But it plays a massive role in how your nerves and muscles communicate, calcium. And the food we'll focus on might already be sitting in your refrigerator. We often think of calcium only in the context of bone health. And yes, it's essential for keeping bones strong and preventing fractures. But what many people don't realize is that calcium is also a key player in muscle function. In fact, every time your muscles contract, whether it's lifting your leg to take a step or holding your balance while walking, calcium is the signal that makes it happen. Here's the science. When your brain sends a signal to your muscle fibers, calcium ions flood into those fibers, triggering contraction. Once the movement is complete, calcium needs to be pumped back out so the muscle can relax. If your calcium levels are too low, the system becomes unstable. Contractions can become prolonged, incomplete, or misfired. This instability is one of the underlying causes of cramps. Research published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research shows that calcium deficiency doesn't just weaken bones, it also makes muscles more excitable, increasing the likelihood of spasms and cramps. And seniors are particularly at risk because calcium absorption decreases with age. Hormonal changes, especially in post-menopausal women, accelerate this decline. That's why incorporating calcium-rich foods becomes even more important after the age of 60. Now, one of the best and most practical sources of calcium is yogurt. A single cup of plain, unsweetened yogurt provides around 300 milligrams of calcium, nearly 1/3 of your daily requirement. But yogurt offers another advantage. It contains probiotics, which support gut health. Why does that matter? Because a healthier gut enhances nutrient absorption, meaning the calcium you consume is more likely to reach your muscles where it's needed. If you're not a fan of yogurt or you're sensitive to dairy, don't worry. There are excellent alternatives. Fortified plant-based yogurts made from almond, soy, or coconut milk often contain added calcium and vitamin D, making them powerful substitutes. Leafy greens like collard greens and bok choy are also good plant-based calcium sources, though they contain slightly less calcium per serving. Sardines and canned salmon with bones are another underrated option, packing both calcium and protein for muscle support. Here's a simple example. Enjoy a small bowl of yogurt topped with berries. As an afternoon snack, or use yogurt as the base for a smoothie that also includes spinach and banana, in one easy step you've combined 3 of the most powerful anti-cramp nutrients, magnesium, potassium, and calcium, into a single delicious meal. And here's a protocol worth remembering. Calcium absorption is optimized when paired with vitamin D. Without enough vitamin D, your body struggles to pull calcium from your digestive system into your bloodstream. This is one reason why seniors with low vitamin D levels often experience both weaker bones and frequent cramps. A daily walk in the sun, or vitamin D-rich foods like salmon and egg yolks, can complement your calcium intake beautifully. Now, let's take this from theory to practice. Imagine building a muscle health plate each day. Breakfast with yogurt and fruit, lunch with leafy greens and a protein source, and dinner with either salmon or a fortified plant-based alternative. By spreading calcium intake throughout the day, rather than consuming it all at once, you give your body a steady supply to fuel proper muscle function. I'd like you to consider this. How different would your nights feel if your muscles were fueled with the minerals they actually need to function properly? No more waking up with that sudden stabbing pain in your calves. Instead, your muscles could rest, recover, and allow your brain to sink into the deep, restorative sleep that protects memory, mood, and overall health. So here's your action tool. Aim for 2 to 3 servings of calcium-rich foods every day. Yogurt is an easy, versatile option, but the key is variety. Mix in leafy greens, fortified plant milks, or calcium-rich fish. Think of it as building a shield around your muscles and bones. One that protects not just against cramps, but also against the slow erosion of strength and independence that often comes with age. We've now covered the 3 major foods that supply magnesium, potassium, and calcium. But there's another layer to this puzzle that often gets overlooked. Even if your diet is rich in these minerals, if you're not properly hydrated, your muscles are still at risk of cramping. Here's what the research shows. Dehydration, even at mild levels, changes the balance of sodium, potassium, and calcium in the fluid that surrounds your muscle cells. These electrolytes are what allow nerves to send signals and muscles to respond smoothly. When fluid levels drop, those electrical signals become erratic, almost like static on a radio, and that's when cramps occur. A study in the European Journal of Applied Physiology demonstrated that dehydration significantly increases muscle cramp susceptibility, even when electrolyte levels in the blood appear normal. Now, here's something fascinating and important. As we age, our thirst mechanism becomes less sensitive. In other words, seniors may not feel thirsty even when their bodies are already dehydrated. That's why so many older adults live in a state of chronic, low-level dehydration without realizing it. The result isn't just leg cramps. It's fatigue, dizziness, constipation, and in some cases, a higher risk of falls due to impaired balance. So, how do we apply this practically? The first tool is what I call timed hydration. Instead of waiting until you're thirsty and then chugging a large glass of water, you set small, consistent intervals for drinking throughout the day. For example, a glass of water when you wake up, 1 mid-morning, 1 with lunch, 1 mid-afternoon, and 1 with dinner. That alone ensures steady hydration without overwhelming your kidneys or bladder all at once. Another key tool is to pair hydration with electrolytes. While plain water is essential, drinking only water, especially in large amounts, can sometimes dilute your electrolytes, which ironically makes cramps more likely. That's why foods and beverages naturally rich in electrolytes, like coconut water, fruit-infused water, or a pinch of sea salt in your drinking water, can help maintain the proper balance. Let me give you an analogy. Think of your muscles as a garden. Magnesium, potassium, and calcium are the nutrients in the soil. But without water, those nutrients can't travel through the roots and actually nourish the plants. Hydration is the transport system. Without it, even the best diet won't protect you fully against cramps. Here's a quick self-check. If your urine is consistently very dark yellow, you're likely underhydrated. Aim for a light, straw-like color most of the time. This is a simple, science-backed way to monitor hydration without special equipment. Now, I want to pause and invite you to reflect. Has this content been giving you useful tools? Not just explanations, but clear steps you can implement today? If so, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. It's the best way to stay connected with future strategies on brain health, muscle strength, sleep, and more. By subscribing, you're joining a community of people committed to building healthier, stronger, and more independent lives. To bring this home, here's your action tool. Aim for 6 to 8 cups of fluids per day, unless your doctor has given you different instructions for a medical condition. Spread them out, add electrolyte-rich foods, and don't rely on thirst alone as your guide. Over time, you'll notice not just fewer cramps, but also sharper focus, steadier energy, and even smoother digestion. Hydration is often thought of as basic, but in reality, it's the silent foundation that allows every other nutrient and every muscle fiber in your body to do its job properly. Let's shift our focus to when leg cramps most often strike, at night. For many seniors, the story is familiar. You finally drift off to sleep, only to be jolted awake by a sudden stabbing pain in your calf or foot. Not only does this interrupt a rest, but it creates anxiety about going back to sleep, knowing the cramp might return. Over time, this can chip away at both physical and mental health. Why does this happen more often at night? Research points to several reasons. First, blood circulation naturally slows when we're lying still, meaning muscles receive fewer nutrients and less oxygen. Second, electrolyte shifts occur as the body goes into repair mode, and this can trigger muscle irritability if nutrient stores are already low. Finally, muscle fibers shorten slightly during sleep, making them more prone to spasms if hydration and minerals aren't in balance. Here's what's crucial. These nighttime cramps don't just cause pain, they disrupt deep sleep cycles, including slow wave and REM sleep. These are the stages when the brain consolidates memory, regulates mood, and repairs tissue. In other words, cramps aren't just a leg problem, they're a whole body and brain problem. So what can be done? The science offers some very practical strategies. One of the most effective is a nighttime nutrition approach, consuming a small snack that provides magnesium or potassium within an hour or two before bed. For example, half a banana, a handful of almonds, or a small yogurt with berries. These foods gently stabilize electrolyte levels overnight, lowering the chance of misfiring nerves that trigger cramps. A 2012 study in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine showed that individuals who consumed magnesium before bed not only reduced muscle cramps, but also improved sleep quality overall. Think of it this way. By nourishing your muscles in the evening, you're also nourishing your brain's ability to rest and restore. Another tool is timing hydration wisely. Drinking large amounts of fluid right before bed often leads to bathroom trips that further interrupt sleep. Instead, taper water intake in the last 2 hours before bedtime, while relying on foods with natural hydration, like fruit, to maintain balance. This way, you're supporting your muscles without sacrificing rest. Now, let me make this more practical with an evening routine example. Imagine finishing dinner around 6 or 7 o'clock. About 90 minutes later, you enjoy a small snack, half a banana sliced over plain yogurt, maybe with a sprinkle of nuts. You do a few minutes of gentle calf and hamstring stretches, which we'll explore more deeply in the next section, and then you settle into bed with calm, nourished muscles. This combination creates the ideal environment for uninterrupted sleep. And cramp-free nights. You might be wondering, what if I already wake up with cramps? In that case, research suggests a simple but effective strategy. Gently stretching and massaging the muscle while flexing the foot toward the shin. This encourages calcium to clear from the muscle fiber and helps the cramp release faster. Keeping a water bottle or electrolyte drink by the bedside can also help if dehydration is a factor. And here's the empowering part. By linking your nutrition and sleep together, you're addressing 2 critical systems at once. Stronger muscles and deeper sleep create a positive feedback loop. Well-rested muscles recover more efficiently, and a well-nourished brain helps regulate the hormones that control muscle tone and repair. So here's your action tool. Create a nighttime ritual that includes a light, mineral-rich snack, 5 minutes of gentle stretching, and consistent sleep timing. This isn't just about preventing cramps. It's about giving your body the chance to rest, rebuild, and keep you strong for the day ahead. So far, we've looked at the foods and hydration strategies that nourish your muscles from the inside. But there's another piece of the puzzle that's equally important: movement. Specifically, stretching. Why is stretching so powerful for preventing leg cramps? The science is clear. When muscles are shortened and inactive for long periods, like when you're sitting or lying in bed, they become more vulnerable to sudden spasms. Stretching lengthens the muscle fibers, improves blood circulation, and primes the nervous system for smooth, controlled contractions. Think of it like tuning an instrument before playing. A well-tuned string produces clear music, while an untuned one makes sharp, jarring sounds. Stretching keeps your musical system, your muscles and nerves, in harmony. A study published in the Journal of Physiotherapy found that a simple program of calf and hamstring stretches performed before bedtime significantly reduced the frequency and intensity of nocturnal leg cramps in older adults. The beauty of this approach is its simplicity. No special equipment, no supplements, just a few minutes of mindful movement. Here's how you can put this into practice. Let's start with the classic calf stretch. Stand facing a wall, place your hands on it for support, and step 1 foot back. Keep your heel pressed to the floor as you lean forward gently. You should feel a stretch in the back of your lower leg. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch sides. Repeat this 2 to 3 times per leg. Another powerful move is the seated hamstring stretch. Sit on the edge of a chair, extend one leg straight out with your heel on the floor, and lean forward slightly from your hips. You'll feel the stretch along the back of your thigh. Again, hold for 20 to 30 seconds per side. Together. These stretches take less than 5 minutes but create lasting changes in muscle elasticity and circulation. To make it easy, build this into your nighttime routine right after brushing your teeth. By pairing stretching with an existing habit, you'll make it automatic. A proven behavioral strategy supported by habit formation research from Stanford and Duke University. You might also consider light movement during the day, even brief. Walks, ankle rolls while seated, or gentle toe raises can keep circulation flowing and reduce the likelihood of cramps later on. Movement is medicine, and it doesn't require high intensity to be effective. Now let's connect this back to something bigger. Stretching isn't just about avoiding the sudden pain of a cramp. It's about preserving independence. Every stretch you do helps maintain mobility, balance, and confidence in your movement. Over time, this translates to fewer falls, greater ability to engage in daily activities, and a stronger sense of control over your body. Here's a practical protocol you can adopt. Morning reset, 2 minutes of calf and hamstring stretches after getting out of bed. Daytime circulation. Light movement every 1 to 2 hours, even if it's just standing, walking across the room, or rolling your ankles. Nighttime ritual, a repeat of the stretching sequence before bed paired with your evening snack. And hydration. Think of this as building movement nutrition. Just as food feeds your muscles, stretching feeds your nervous system and circulation. When combined with magnesium, potassium, calcium, and hydration, it creates a comprehensive shield against cramps. So here's your action tool. Commit to 5 minutes of gentle stretching every night this week. Notice how your muscles respond, how your sleep improves, and how your confidence in movement grows. Often, it's not the big, dramatic changes, but the small, consistent rituals that make the deepest impact. We've now walked through the full picture of how to prevent leg cramps and strengthen your legs in a way that's simple, science-backed, and deeply practical. Let's take a moment to tie it all together. First, we saw how magnesium-rich foods, like spinach, act as nature's muscle relaxant, calming nerve signals and giving your muscles the ability to release when they need to. Then we moved into potassium-rich foods such as bananas, sweet potatoes, and avocados, which balance fluid inside your cells and keep contractions smooth and controlled. Next, we explored calcium from yogurt or fortified alternatives, which doesn't just strengthen bones but also stabilizes muscle signaling. From there, we zoomed out to the bigger system. Hydration and electrolytes form the foundation that allows these nutrients to actually do their work. Without enough water, even the best diet can't prevent cramps. We then connected the dots to sleep, understanding that cramps at night aren't just a nuisance. They rob you of the deep rest your brain and body need for memory, mood, and repair. And finally, we looked at how movement and stretching act as medicine, tuning your muscles and circulation so they function smoothly. Here's the empowering truth. Preventing cramps isn't about taking a pill or living with discomfort. It's about creating a lifestyle rhythm, small daily rituals that add up to big protection. A cup of leafy greens, a potassium-rich snack, a serving of yogurt or fortified alternatives, steady hydration, a light evening snack, and a few minutes of stretching. These are not complicated changes, but together they form a shield around your muscles, helping you sleep deeply, move confidently, and feel more in control of your body. And the impact goes beyond just avoiding pain. By protecting your muscles, you're also protecting your independence. You're lowering your risk of falls, improving circulation, supporting your brain, and giving yourself the energy to stay engaged with life, whether that's playing with grandchildren, enjoying a walk, or simply waking up without fear of cramps interrupting your night. So here's my challenge for you. Tonight, before you go to bed, try one tool from what we've discussed. Maybe it's half a banana, a few minutes of calf stretches, or a small bowl of yogurt. Start with just one. Notice how your body feels tomorrow. Then layer in the others, one at a time. Over weeks, you'll build a system that feels effortless. Because it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. I want you to think of this channel as your lab and your coach's corner, a place where the best of neuroscience, physiology, and behavioral science comes together in practical tools you can use right away. If you found value in this breakdown, if you learned something new that you're ready to apply, I'd love for you to join our community by subscribing. And if you've already tried some of these tools, share your experience in the comments. Your story may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Together, we're building a community that doesn't just talk about aging, but actively redefines what it means to age well, with strength, clarity, and confidence. So, as you move into your evening, remember this. Small actions create lasting change. One stretch, one glass of water, one nutrient-rich meal. These are the building blocks of stronger legs, calmer nights, and a sharper mind. Start today and let your future self thank you tomorrow.